Welcome to another episode of Truth from the Trail. Now, obviously, I'm not on the trail right now. With a forecast of rain and this afternoon thunderstorms, I really thought it might be a good day to just sit in and rest a little bit and stay out of the rain. Rain's one thing, thunderstorms and lightning something else. And so I am here at the Iron Masters Mansion Hostel. Now, before you let your imagination go wild and think that I'm living high on the hog, the Iron Masters Mansion Hostel is an old building, and it is not a mansion by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm on a place where the Appalachian Trail literally goes through. It's on the road right behind me, but it's a place where several roads intersect. So you're going to hear road noise. You might even on the bottom of the screen occasionally you might see a vehicle pass by. You're probably going to hear rain dripping off the gutter, and but it was a good safe place for me to get in out of the rain this afternoon. The Iron Masters Mansion Hostel is at Pine Grove Furnace. State Park is right here. The Pine Grove Furnace General Store is right around the corner. And that's kind of a famous place on the Appalachian Trail because it's unofficially the halfway point between Georgia and Maine. So hikers come through here and they've made the halfway point, and at the Pine Grove Furnace General Store, they take what's called the half-gallon challenge in honor of going halfway, and that's where they eat a half-gallon of ice cream. And if they complete it, they get the great honor of getting a little wooden spoon that says that they did the half-gallon challenge. So I'm at a pretty iconic spot on the Appalachian Trail. You just can't see the trail because it's down the hill behind me in the rain, and hopefully the storms are about to pass and it's going to get better. But I thought, I'm here, and I'm here by myself right now. I thought this would be a good time to bring you a story and see if we can dig up some truth from the trail. I'm reminded of a story that Jesus told right after he came down off the mountain after delivering what people call the Sermon on the Mount. And he came down off the mountain and he told this story. Jesus said, "People who hear my word and do it are like the man who built his house on the rock. And when the rains fell and the floods came and the wind blew against his house, the house stood. It did not fall because it was built on the rock. But the people who hear my word and don't do it are like the man who built his house on the sand. And when the rains fell and the floods came and the wind blew against his house, the house fell, and it was a terrible fall." And that's the end of the story. And that's such a very, very short story, but there's some really important, to me, important life lessons that I can find in this very short little story that at the end of the episode, I'll let you know where that is, a couple of places in the New Testament. The first life lesson that I dig out of this story is it says the people that hear my word and do it. To me, that's saying that my faith in Jesus, my faith in God, my Christian faith, is not just I hope it happens, I hope it's real, I wish I could be this kind of person, I'm thinking about it. It goes beyond that to action. Faith in God, for me, requires action. Now, that action doesn't earn me a place with God. It doesn't. It's not a works-based thing, is what I'm trying to say. But it's action. Now, God wants me to do something. So Jesus said, "The people that hear my word, hearing's not enough. Thinking about it's not enough. People that hear my word and do it, they're like the man that built his house on the rock. But the people who hear my word and don't do it are like the man who built his house on the sand." So first life lesson that I get out of this is that the Christian faith, the faith in God, is an active faith, not a passive faith, not a cerebral faith, not a think about it faith, but a do it faith. The second thing I get in here is the active faith brings stability. I don't know if you've ever built anything. Anyone who's ever built, especially a house or a structure, knows how important the foundation is. So what Jesus was saying was, you hear my word and you do it, it creates stability. And that's the man who built his house on the rock. One of the things I've noticed hiking the Appalachian Trail is, especially here in Northern Virginia and Maryland. I'm in Pennsylvania now, but Maryland and Northern Virginia were very, very rocky. And I had to be very careful where I was putting my foot, because if I set my foot on a rock, the instability could make me roll an ankle or even fall. And stability is really important, isn't it? How stable are my thoughts? How stable are your thoughts? And you've got to decide that for yourself, and I have to decide it for myself. But stability is important, isn't it? So an active faith, Jesus is saying, brings stability. The man that built his house on a rock, solid foundation, was stable. The man that built his house on the sand, moving foundation, a shifty foundation, unstable, or it lacked stability. So it's an active faith, it's a stable faith. But then there's one last life lesson that I see in here. I don't know if you caught it in the story, but the man that built his house on the rock, the rain fell, the floods came, the wind blew, the house stood. The man that built his house on the sand, the rain came, the floods came, the wind blew, and the house didn't. What's my point? To me, what I'm hearing is that both guys, both builders, experienced a storm. The rain, the flood, the wind came for the guy that built his house on the rock. The rain, the flood, the wind came for the guy that built his house on the sand. Y'all, to me, that's just saying storms come to everyone. It doesn't matter whether you have faith or don't have faith. It doesn't matter whether you built your house on the rock or built your house on the sand. To me, it's kind of a warning that storms are coming, and they will happen. And for many of us, those of you watching, and for me myself, I've dealt with some storms. Now, maybe my storms haven't been as bad as your storms. Maybe your storms haven't been as bad as some of mine, but every one of us will experience storms. The question is, how stable, what a firm foundation our lives are going to be built on, not if the storm comes, but when the storm comes. Because both of these guys in this story had storms. The active faith that brings stability withstood the storm. The inactive faith of instability gave way to the storm. And that's a pretty good life lesson for me. What does that say to you? Is there anything there that it's saying that maybe you need to think about, or that I need to think about? Maybe so. Well, hopefully the storms are just about over today. The storming has pretty much quit, and the rain is still falling, but that's going to stop too. And tomorrow's going to be sunny, and I'm going to be back on the trail. So maybe we'll bring you something else. And I look forward to seeing you next time on Truth from the Trail.